So there was a lot of developing news around the fourth stimulus check, everybody, and we can see the Senate's rules finally be changed and the filibuster's removal today. And there are many big changes that lawmakers are making which will affect millions of Americans, including seniors, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, RRB, and VA beneficiaries. So just be sure to continue watching this video, folks, to find out the latest news. Everybody, Senate Democrats are running towards the finish line, and Chuck Schumer announced that there will be an attempt tonight to allow for the passage of a reform bill. That's with a simple majority vote. Democrats in the Senate are continuing to press forward despite some really big opposition from Senate Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Tonight's anticipated vote is the culmination of several failed attempts to pass this stimulus bill. And that's very interesting, folks. Despite its possible failure, the vote will put senators on record for a revival of the talking filibuster. And in regard to the stimulus check, I know many of you are wondering when tax returns are going to be sent out. According to the IRS, tax season will start on January 24th, and programs like the expanded child tax credit will allow for many families to receive what is called a recovery rebate credit. But this is only if there is any money that they are owed after comparing the 2021 advance credits for the remaining stimulus money. Plus, in a letter to the National Attention Association of Taxpayers, they called on the IRS to take reasonable action to reduce unnecessary burdens on tax professionals. So this would definitely help with the sending of stimulus checks. Now, of course, Chuck Schumer is very upset at lawmakers like Senator Manchin and Sinema right now, but Schumer's continued on with his attempt to change the Senate rules, even after many Democrats don't support him. So he wrote, a vote to removing the Senate's filibuster is years in the making. After intense pressure from Democratic activists, even President Biden has signaled a change in approach as he heads towards the second year of his presidency. Joe Biden laid out his vision for the next chapter of his presidency during a 2-hour press conference. He said he's prepared to make changes as he faces the crisis at home and abroad. Now it is important to know that President Biden is changing his approach to how he handles a signature on a legislative proposal. In particular, Biden indicated that he believes Congress can pass funding for energy and environmental issues, and that he has support from West Virginia Democratic Senator Manchin on the plan's early education proposals. In addition, Biden indicated there's strong support for the proposal on how the provisions will be paid for. Now, Biden, everybody, later said he's unsure whether he'll be able to get the tax credit provision and funding to assist with the cost of college-passed stimulus bills. And the president also acknowledged that passing his other legislative priority, voting reform, will still be difficult, and still, he insisted that Democrats continue and have options to get it passed. Thank you again for your support, everybody, and until next time, have a great day.
Ms. Young, let me start off with an issue that I've worked on for a long time, as others have, and that is the high cost of prescription drugs, the fact that the United States, through our Medicare program, does not negotiate drug prices. What does the president's budget do in terms of lowering drug prices and demanding that we get fair prices from the pharmaceutical industry?
Senator Sanders, the budget makes clear that the president expects action on this year, that we expect a bill from Congress that allows Medicare to negotiate drug prices that saves at least $500 billion for the American people, because through lowering of drug payments, which you know is an extreme cost not only to beneficiaries but to taxpayers through the Medicare program.
To my mind, in the richest country on earth, it is hard to believe that millions of seniors don't have teeth in their mouths, don't have the hearing aids that they need, don't have the eyeglasses they need. What does the president's budget propose in terms of expanding Medicare?
Not only does the president want and expect action this year, as he called for in the joint address on prescription drugs, he expects those savings and others to be used to strengthen the Medicare, Medicaid programs with plans to enhance dental, vision, and hearing aid through those programs.
Ms. Young, you may be aware that, unbelievably, I hear my Republican colleagues talk about problems, and somehow they forget issues like we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, while the very rich are richer. What does this bill finally begin to do, the president's budget, in terms of childhood poverty in America?
One, it looks at the issues you brought up about women in the job force and a need for child care for all families that's affordable, equitable. So it invests heavily in child care spending. It reinvests in Head Start. Today, the discretionary budget serves 95,000 fewer children than it did 10 years ago. So it looks at a full picture to allow families to educate their children in a way that's fair to all families, no matter of income level.
Why is that important? I mean, I'm asking you such an obvious question, but some apparently still don't appreciate this. Why in today's economy is it important that we have a strong child care and pre-K system?
I'm here before you as a woman. Families look very different than they did 30 years ago. We need all the tools available to allow women and fathers to enter the workforce while not worrying about child care for their families.
The United States, I say to my colleagues, used to be the best educated country on earth. My memory is correct, we used to have the highest percentage of college graduates of any major country. That is no longer the case. Senator Graham mentioned that this is a very competitive economy, world economy. It certainly is. And you know what? You're not going to succeed in a competitive world economy unless we have the best educated workforce in the world. What does the president's budget do in terms of improving, allowing working families to get the higher education that right now they cannot?
Mr. President, the average Social Security benefit today is just $14,000 a year. And as someone who will be the next ranking member of the Budget Committee, I intend to do everything I can, not only to oppose vigorously any efforts to cut Social Security, I'm going to do everything that I can to expand Social Security benefits. And, in fact, the best way to expand Social Security is to ask the wealthiest people in our country to pay more into the system by scrapping the cap on income that is subject to the Social Security payroll tax. Mr. President, as you know, right now, a billionaire pays the same amount into Social Security as someone who makes $117,000 a year. You got a multimillionaire here, somebody's making $50 million, somebody's making $117,000. They both contribute the same amount into the Social Security Trust Fund. This is regressive, this is unfair, this is absurd. If we lifted this cap and applied the Social Security payroll tax to income above $250,000, not $117,000, but $250,000 a year, we could not only extend the solvency of Social Security for decades to come, which is what we want to do, but we could also provide the resources necessary to expand